She is a former massage therapist and a 10-year doTERRA wellness advocate. She hit diamond in 2 years, blue diamond in 3 years, and presidential diamond in 5 years. She is passionate about helping people to find health, happiness, and sense of purpose. She now lives in a beautiful Monterey Bay with her 2 teenagers and 4 babies. And she loves to dance, travel, and help raise money for humanitarian causes. Please welcome Presidential Diamond Leader, Ms. Corinna Barrus.
Well, good morning. It's interesting because it was a little bit of a similar time, not quite like now. This is a very unique time in history, but for me, when I got started in dōTERRA, it was coming out of what was a very big recession in the U.S. And I had a little one. I had a 3-year-old at the time and a 5-year-old, so my kids were little, and our whole world sort of got torn apart when my husband lost his job, and we lost our home actually. And we lost a business that we had on the side. So everything kind of dried up. We were in real estate and building, and that's what had really ended at the time. And ended up living with this old RV. We ended up living in it for about 6 months, trying to figure out what we were going to do. And right about that time, some friends of mine introduced me actually to dōTERRA oils. My girlfriend, Roxanne Bybee and James Bybee, maybe some of you know them. They're also Presidential Diamonds, and I know James has been to the Philippines. So we were friends. Our kids were in the same little school group, and she gave me some oils to help me because I was really struggling with feeling anxious and feeling sad and worried. And so she gave me some oils just to help me feel better. And I started using them, and of course they worked amazing. I loved them. And so I started learning more about the oils, and I started using them for my children, and of course had amazing results, and was kind of blown away by these essential oils. And at first I didn't really see the business as an option for me because although they shared it with me, but at first I felt like I wouldn't be a good salesperson. That was my first feeling. And so I said, no, I love the oils. I'll share the oils with people, but I don't think I'm good at sales. What happened was, as I shared the oils, right, people wanted them and they started having results as well. And so I ended up sort of starting the business without realizing it. And then as I started to see, everyone I gave oils to that used them also had an amazing experience. And so I started to see that how rewarding it was actually by sharing and teaching about the oils. And then I started to see some other people around me, that were starting to have success, James and Roxanne and Natalie Goddard and Andy Goddard, their brother and sister, and they were starting to have some real success. And I was really struggling financially. And so I said, maybe I should learn about this business because I love these oils. I'm telling everybody about them anyway. And this is a real option for me for a career path. And so at that point, once I decided to do the business, I really just dove all in. I felt like I want to do this. I want to give it everything I've got. I want to see what I can do. I wasn't confident at all. I was scared of speaking in front of people. I didn't have any sales background. At that time I pretty much was a stay-at-home mom. And so I really didn't know what I was doing, but I loved the oils. I knew they worked. And really, I know that it comes down to just talking to people, sharing with people, and you develop those skills as you do it. You learn how to speak, you learn more about the oils, you learn about the company. And so I'm grateful these oils are so amazing and the company is so amazing because I think it allows people like me who didn't have that kind of background to still do very well. And of course, if you already have a background in those things, then you're even better to start, right? I think initially when I started, a couple of things I did, it was hard because I had both my, my kids. And, so I remember sometimes I would lock myself in my room to make a phone call or, Luckily I did work with a lot of other moms as well. So they had kids too, initially, since my kids were so little. And so that helped. They understood they had kids. I had to let go of a few things that I was doing to make space in my life for dōTERRA. Or put them on hold. I had some different responsibilities. Some I couldn't, of course, being a mom, and some of the things I had to keep doing, but there were some other things I was doing that I just said, I'm going to wait I'm going to let this go for now so I can really give doTERRA my focus and then come back to them. So there were some volunteer things I was doing. There was some just fun things I was doing. And I just kind of said, I'm going to put that on hold for a little bit. And now I do them again. Now I do those fun things and I do more volunteer work. But I just had to do that. I think also really getting your family on board if you can, as much as possible. You know, I really had to do that. I really had to talk to my husband and talk to my kids and just say, look, I need to be able to take some time and do this, and it's going to benefit all of us, and really try to include them in that. So I didn't feel, you know, guilty, mom guilt. And then I think really knowing why you're doing it. Like for me at the time, at the time, my why was more personal because I really had to bring money into the family. We were struggling financially. And if I didn't do doTERRA, I was going to get a full-time job somewhere and just be gone from my kids all day. And I didn't want to do that. So I had a strong why to make it work for myself. And then over time, that's changed to like, okay, well, what else can I do? And who can I help? And, you know, those things have changed over time. But I think really knowing why you're doing it, why you're making those sacrifices, and your family knows as well, so that everyone can be as on board as possible.
Did you ever think of really like, I cannot do this anymore, I want to quit? And how did you like change your mindset?
So I think everybody wants to quit sometimes. I mean, it's just part of it. Like you just can't be so afraid of that. And you really don't ever want to quit on a bad day. Okay. Never quit on a bad day. Right. Because we all have bad days. And if you really think about, I mean, at least for myself, if I really think about really anything that I've done that was meaningful, I wanted to quit at some point, whether it was going to college or whether it was being a mom, although you can't quit that. But, you know, it's just some days you're like, I'm not cut out for this. You know, what I get myself into, there's hard days. So you just have to remember that there's going to be hard days. And I think what kept me going was sometimes really my upline. You know, I remember sometimes calling my upline in tears. I taught a class, nobody came, or somebody was difficult and combative in the class, and what do I do? And so having people surrounding yourself, whether it's your upline or if you have a close friend or maybe one of the leaders in doTERRA that you connect with, like have someone that's in your corner that's going to back you up and support you when you have a bad day, especially doTERRA leader, because they've gone through it, right? They've had those days, had those experiences. And so that really helped me, being able to reach out to a friend or to an upline that was supportive. And then again, I think going back to the why of just like, I love these oils. I know they make a difference. I know what they did in my life. People need them. And, you know, oftentimes when I wanted to quit was because it was about me, right? Oh, I didn't do a good job at the class, or someone didn't like me, or it's like, poor me. You have to get out of that. It's not about me. It's about the other people. How can I help them? What can I do to serve? And then it doesn't matter if somebody doesn't like me, or if I sounded funny when I taught that class or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like, we got to get out of our own way because we have a mission. We have a purpose to serve. And so then those setbacks, like when we see those setbacks in that light, they become small, opposed to big and feeling like they're overwhelming.
Yeah, you experience a lot of like failures also along your journey, and it really helped you become a leader that you are today. If you would go back, what would you tell yourself today? Or is there anything that you would do differently?
I think I would have had the courage to seek more high-level influencers earlier on. You know, I think in the beginning I felt like, well, how could I talk to those people? You know, I didn't have the credentials, or I didn't have the experience, or I didn't have the rank, or those types of things. And really, these oils are amazing, and this company is amazing, and this purpose is amazing, and there's so much that we can rely on because of that. You know, we really can depend on the integrity of this company, and the oils, and the sourcing, and the, you know, the co-impact, and just the stability of this business now, right? It's a really solid business. And so I think drawing on that more than maybe my own experience in the beginning, right? Because in the beginning, I didn't have a lot of experience with doTERRA, and I didn't have the rank, and I didn't have all that. But I think that I didn't need it earlier on, and that I could still go to those people and be confident and share these oils and share this company and share this opportunity. I wish I had believed that sooner.
Going back to like teaming up with your upline when you're down, or how were you able to give support to your struggling builders at the same time, your downlines? Or what kind of effective leadership skills would you apply, you would want to help build your downlines?
Well, it's kind of fun. As you were asking this question, I see one of my team members, Evan Esquera. I can see his face.
Yeah.
And it's so, he's such an amazing leader. I know in the Philippines, and I got to be in the Philippines. Was that not a year ago? Gosh, that was November, and it was so wonderful to be there. So, and he and his wife, of course, are incredible leaders, Melissa and Evan Esquera. Being a leader, of course, that was another daunting task for me because I had never been any kind of leader except for I led a Girl Scout troop of 5-year-olds. So, I was like, oh my gosh, how do I be a leader? So that, of course, is a process, and we're always developing that and learning that. The first thing is to lead yourself well. Be someone that somebody wants to follow, really, because a leader means somebody is looking to you, someone's following you, someone is, maybe depending on you, or you're mentoring someone. So you need to walk the walk and talk the talk. So that starts with you. And then really, I think leadership in the beginning with doTERRA is about meeting people where they're at, seeing in them what's possible, helping them see what's possible, and helping them really just get to those next levels. Really, in the beginning, I feel like that's what it is. And that's what my upline did for me. I feel like they saw in me what I didn't see in myself. They knew I would be a great at doTERRA, or they thought that I would, and I didn't think that, but they saw something in me, and they helped me to see that as well.
Do you have like other lessons that you want to impart to leaders? The Philippines is a growing market and it's relatively new. So we don't have really leaders like, we don't have blue diamonds yet and presidential diamonds. So what kind of lessons would you wish to impart our new leaders here in the Philippines?
Wow. Well, I think you're so blessed, and it's such an amazing time because you get to be those people, right? You're really at the forefront of this whole leadership journey in the Philippines and creating that. And one of the things that I love so much about doTERRA worldwide, and I know, of course, in the US, we're more established because we began here, but is this culture of really caring about other people and helping people and lifting each other up and supporting each other. Like I have friends in all different teams. It doesn't matter what team, we're all one team. And that culture of doTERRA is really unique. And so I think as leaders in the Philippines, I would just really encourage you to embrace that culture, because it will carry you so far, and to have each other and to be able to really have those cross-line connections and friendships as you're developing your leadership, as you're developing the country, is going to serve you and to really serve the people that you bring into doTERRA. So really, really safeguarding that culture, that's something that we really care about so much, and we talk about it so much as leaders and at our meetings and in our, conferences. And so, we respect other people's downlines. We never try to cross recruit, bloom where they're planted. Like that's so important. And it's such a big part of the culture. And it's such a big part of why, high level people want to be a part of doTERRA, the integrity. So I would say the integrity piece is so important. And just really holding fast to your why, because there's challenges. There's always challenges, and especially in an emerging market. And right now with what's going on in the world, it's such a challenging time. So just really keeping yourself feeling motivated and feeling positive, really doing some personal development work each day, whatever that is, whether you meditate or pray or reading some good books, so that you can stay inspired, so you can be inspiring, right? Because we're more than ever right now, I think people in doTERRA are like this beacon of light in the world. And that's really, it's an amazing opportunity right now to help people with these oils and with the business. People are struggling financially right now, and we have these amazing solutions. So we have to be that light, right? So that we can really draw people and and then, like you said, mentor, support them to grow.
I know, Corinna, that you are not a U.S. founder, right? And you're so close, so close in time, right? So if you could go back in time and be in the running for U.S. founder, what would you do if you could? And I mean, I guess if you could, would you? Something about that.
Question. Are you in California too?
Yeah, it's early. Yeah.
More true here. All right. So, so that's such a great question, because I started dōTERRA 2 years after the company had began. So I've been with dōTERRA 10 years, but we're 12 years old in the US. So when I joined the company, the US founders positions were taken. And, I always was a little jealous, I'll be honest, of the US founders, because I thought, wow, that's so amazing, that they were able to be a part of that beginning kind of pioneering days and all the, the ups and downs of that. But then they also are now, founders in the company, and just what a privilege and an honor. And of course, it's such a abundant opportunity, and it's just something that's really special. And so I would have absolutely gone for founders if it was open when I started. I would have really just gone for it 100%, because it is such an amazing opportunity. It's not there forever, right? Clearly, it's not an easy thing to achieve. You have to really be all in with it. But the beautiful thing is, there were many people going for US founders back when they were open for the original, 25. And of course, not everyone got them, right? My upline did, and their upline did, right? So I love that. I have my upline are founders, but even people who didn't hit founders, but tried really hard, let's say, they have these amazing businesses now that are super established and super successful. And so there's nothing to lose in going for founders. That's how I see it. I mean, if you win earn rather, I should say, one of the spots, that's an incredible opportunity for your whole life and for your family and for your legacy. But even if you didn't, and you worked really, really hard, and you built a big, amazing dōTERRA team and business, you still win, right? Because you're still going to receive those incredible benefits, and so is your team. So I would say go for it. Lock arms with the people that want to grow with you. Maybe they want to go for founders too, and just go for it. It's so much more fun to build this business with incredible energy and momentum and drive than to do it slow. It's so much more fun. It's so much more rewarding. So I think you guys have this amazing opportunity right now, and I would just go for it. And you start to have these amazing leaders. I mean, like Evan and Melissa are leaders on my team. They're just incredible, right? And so it's really fun when you have people like that you get to run with and get to grow with. And so I think that becomes easier, actually. I think it's harder when it's all you in the beginning, right? And you're just trying to kind of do it by yourself and get everything going. I think that's harder. So I think it actually gets easier in a way. There's more moving parts as your team grows, because obviously Presidential Diamond is a lot of teams, right? So I think it took me longer to develop that. And I think once I hit Blue Diamond, I just slowed down a little bit for a little while. So that part of the time was me. I probably could have done it faster if I had kept up the pace that I had. So and clearly there are other leaders who have done it faster than me. So I'm certainly not, setting any records on speed, but it's okay. That's the thing. You get to choose, right? If you want to be someone that can climb in a year or two, or you want to take 5 years, or you want to take 10 years. I mean, you get to choose. Okay. I think it was how to approach a share to build. That's a good question. So I think get a sharer sharing, really. Get them sharing more, right? Get them sharing samples, have them host a class for you. Right now, while we're doing this resting at home, have them do a Zoom class, invite friends, right? You can do 3-way calls with them if they want to talk and share with another friend and they're not comfortable. So just get them sharing more, because the thing is, when you're sharing, that's a big part of doing the business, actually. And so they're sort of doing a big part of the business without even realizing it. And sharing, I think for many people, especially a sharer, is really rewarding. They like it. It feels good, right? It feels good to share things with other people that make a difference in their life. And as they experience that, and then their friends want the oils and they enroll, Well, now they can get an experience of, oh, wow, not only did I get to feel good and enjoy sharing and enjoy, you know, the human interaction with that and all of the good things that come from that and helping someone, but I actually made a check. I made money from that. Oh, wow. That's a whole nother thing, right? So help your sharers to start making some money by sharing. I think that's a really good step. And as you're doing that, then you can sort of open up these conversations with them of, you know, you're already sharing, your friends are loving these oils. We've taught this class, you've enrolled some people, you know, how are you liking this? Let's do it again. And then, you know, when that class you taught, let's say with the friend who enrolls, well, then you get them sharing. Let's share this with your friends, right? And you just keep expanding that network. And so I think you can start to have these conversations with people, and then you can be genuine. You can say, you know what, you're really good at this. I can see how you're sharing with your friends, and they listen to you. They like what you have to say. They like these oils. You know, what do you think about doing this a little bit more? Let's help you get your oils paid for. Let's help you supplement your income, right? Or you can just sit down with them and talk to them about what is their financial situation with work. Is this maybe a time where they'd like to look at this more seriously? So it kind of depends on the person. I feel like that's where knowing the people you're talking to, what matters to them, you know, what are their needs, what are their hopes. But if you can speak to that and encourage them, and again, sometimes it's just a little bit. Like for me, when I first started, my upline, for example, they didn't push me initially to teach classes because they knew I was scared of it. So they would teach the classes for me at first, but they would just have me teach a little bit. They'd say, okay, Corinna, why don't you talk about lavender and peppermint today? And so then I would do it. And then I loved it. I was like, this is so fun. I love teaching, right? And so I didn't even know I was teaching, but they just sort of snuck it in. And then they had me do more. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I can teach a class. It's no problem. So sometimes you have to kind of help your people slowly in if they're not immediately confident with it.
How do you share during this time? How do you share the oils? How do you like invite people? Because you're in the Philippines, we're really confined or in our homes. We cannot go out.
So I think we really have to rely on technology. And this is such a good example, right? We're in a Zoom room right now. So you're in the Philippines, I'm in California, but I see your face, we're talking, right? And so let's really use this technology and really connect with people and create those opportunities to talk. I don't know if you can get samples to everyone. You know, often that's what I've done in the past is given people samples, and that may or may not be possible right now. I personally have been sending things to people in the mail still, like sending samples. And if on your way to the grocery store, you can do a drop off of some samples, you know, obviously that's wonderful. But if you can't, then relying on the stories are really important. Relying on the oil stories, because, and they can be your stories, they can be other stories of people that you know using the oils, your family, your friends, your upline. They don't just have to be your stories. And in fact, it's better if they're not just your stories, right? Because part of this is people that are new to the oils understanding, oh, it didn't just work for you, it worked for this person and this person. You can obviously rely on some videos for that. You can rely on, you know, your Facebook, your Instagram, FaceTime, you know, going live, you know, all of these things. But then, you know, getting those people in those one-on-one conversations or small group conversations, classes on Zoom, you know, just really creating that personal connection, I think, as much as possible right now is going to be really helpful, especially, you know, if you don't have a big online presence. Now, if you are, you know, a social media influencer, obviously you already know how to do that with people online. But if you're like me, kind of like an average, you know, person when you started this and that wasn't your skill set, you know, then reaching out to the people that you know and the people that you have connections with, and really creating this time to talk to them about it and share with them.
When you're sampling, what is the word track that you use?
So I like to, first of all, get a commitment that they're going to try the oils. Okay. I don't like to just send free samples to people. I did that at the beginning. I just sent free stuff out. It's like, okay, so you really want to, you know, make sure the person is open to trying a natural solution. I like to give a sample for something specific if I can, that they have mentioned they're struggling with. So maybe if they're having trouble sleeping, you know, lavender. If they're having some respiratory issues, breathe, right? Like I try to find something that I know they're going to have a reaction to. that's going to help them. Then I say, okay, as soon as you get those, let's make a time to talk. And I guide them through, how to use it. If I'm sending it in the mail, I'll usually have a little instructions. Okay, use this twice a day, whatever. And so I set a time I want to talk to you after you've used it for 2 days. And then we go over it together. So I want a commitment they're going to use it. I want to talk to them after they've used it for a couple of days. And normally it's like, oh my gosh, it was amazing, right? And they tell you, they're a great experience. Now, sometimes they say, oh, the oil didn't work for me. So that's part of I should go back. That's part of what I tell them when I give them the oil. I say, I think this is going to be a good oil for you to try, but every body is different. And so I want you to try it for 2 days, and I want to check in with you and see how it worked for you. So the reason for that is, number one, I do want them to try it for 2 days. And I also want them to know that it may not be the right oil for them. Everybody is different. I don't know what's causing their sleep issue. Maybe it's hormones, maybe it's stress, maybe it's, so we sometimes do need to play around a little bit to find the right thing for them. So I want that to be clear. I don't want them to think, oh, the oils don't work, right? Think about it. Even the doctor does that. When you go to the doctor, they'll be like, I'm going to try you on this medicine. It may work, sometimes you got
after 7 days, you come back and we give you another type of medication.
So I think it's good for them to know that. And then, and also it gives you a good reason to follow up with them.
Right.
Vanessa, do you have the Empowered Success materials in the Philippines?
We have the Live Guide and the Share Guide.
That's what I was also going to refer to. In the Share Guide, I use these. They have great scripts on how to follow up. And they can get that on the website, right? They can download it?
Yes, right.
Okay, good. Yeah, so these are wonderful. Is it the same one as in the US? Sorry, I don't know all that.
The Share Guide, it's the same, but the Live Guide, it's more how do I say it, Filipinized.
This is so great. It teaches you how to share an experience, how to invite to a one-on-one or a presentation, how to remind them, via text or maybe Facebook Messenger or however, WhatsApp, whatever you're using. And so it gives you some really good, there's sampling scripts on how to share your story, right? Stories, again, are really important. They say stories sell, facts tell. So really sharing your story. So yeah, this is going to be really good for you guys if, to use, and then for your new people also to always be, making sure they have those references to use.
What is the difference of doing a really a one-on-one, a smaller group, than doing it like more than 10 people, a class with 10 or more people? Is it more effective to do a smaller group than that of a bigger group?
I think it's good to do both, honestly. I mean, if you have enough people to do large classes, I would definitely do the large classes. The important thing, though, if you are doing large classes like in this format, which is what we have to do now, Zoom, you may not have the opportunity to pinpoint with each person, the enrolling process. So if you're doing a large class, I would keep the enrollment piece really simple, maybe just talking about 1 kit or 2 kits, so that people are not confused. They know how to enroll, or making sure that you set up a time with each of them shortly after to that one-on-one time, so you can enroll them and answer their individual questions and make sure that, they don't kind of fall through the cracks, because that is sometimes a challenge with larger classes. Or bring your upline in if it's a large class. Just make sure you have the ability to really handle each person and what they need. The benefit of a one-on-one, of course, is you can really tailor it to that one person, and you can really have, it's more of you can have more of a conversation with them about what they need, what they want. The larger class, you can, especially if you have some people there that have used the essential oils, you can ask them to share their testimonial, and so it creates more of belief in people. So I really like both. It's just with a larger class, again, you have to make sure it doesn't go too long, and you just need to be mindful of that.
In the Philippines or whatever, in dōTERRA, just leaning into the dōTERRA culture and feeling the difference of the dōTERRA culture as opposed to other network marketing cultures, because ours is specific, right? But in the Philippines, it's a little different in that there is no culture. Right now, culture is implemented from other places. So I guess the people on this call would be the creators of the dōTERRA culture in the Philippines. So can you speak a little bit about how the difference of the doTERRA culture, I guess, in the US and in the world, as opposed to other network marketing cultures?
Yeah. So, I love that question. And I think, what I didn't even talk about this, but, one of the things was when I first learned about the business, when I found out it was multi-level, or I like to say direct sales or person-to-person marketing, I like that terminology better. But at the time it was like multi-level marketing, and I thought it was bad, right? I had a negative perception. So that was another thing. I was like, well, I can't do that. Like that's bad. and that's where it was really helpful for my upline to actually talk to me and say, well, what's bad about it? What's your experience with it? And really, I didn't have any experience with it. So it wasn't even based on any real experience. It was just a perception that I had because of some other companies, quite frankly, whose culture was a culture of being pushy salespeople, pushing a product that was overpriced. This was, my belief, overpriced and not necessary, something I didn't really need. And then just pushing business, like really pushy. So when I, thought about doTERRA, that's not the doTERRA culture, okay? And certainly not in the US, and I hope not in the whole world, because our culture, first of all, is heavily into education, right? We teach people about these amazing oils. Of course, we have an incredible business option, and we do teach people about that, but we certainly in the US, we don't push people into that. We have different options. We have people who just want to use the oils, and we love those people. And we have people that want to share, and we have people that want to build, and we care for all of those people in this company very well. So we're education. We're also a company of really purpose. This is a company that sources their oils around the world and lifts up the people in every place that we get these oils, right? The Healing Hands, co-impact sourcing. It's making a massive difference, right? This is a company that is doing so much good. Everything we do is good. Every part of the supply chain, from the farmer to the distiller, to the employees of doTERRA, to the builders of doTERRA, to the customers, everyone is blessed. Everyone's taken care of. And so there's really this sense of, we call it like servant leadership, right? The leadership of doTERRA, they care, and they're working hard. All of the owners of doTERRA I know you've seen them in the videos, and you've probably met some of them when they've come, I hope, to the Philippines, and they're the real deal. I mean, they are just so high integrity, and they are traveling still. Well, not now, no one's traveling, but until the travel bans, we've all been out there just traveling and teaching and sharing, and they believe so deeply in this mission, and they are really mission focused, and in the sense of helping people and lifting people. And then we're also a culture as leaders of collaborators, not competitors. Okay. Now, of course, we have competition, right? Healthy competition, like the Founders Club. That's a healthy competition. But we collaborate with each other, and we work together, and we share our resources and our tools, and we do trainings together and retreats together. And when we go to our leadership events and our conventions, we're friends with each other. And we're in Facebook groups, all of us leaders, where we collaborate and connect. And I have friends from so many other teams now, because it's not just my team, right? It's like doTERRA is a family, really. It's like one big family. And so we work together and we help each other. And we're, we don't take from each other's teams. And that's different. In other multi-level marketing companies, people are always trying to steal people, right? And it creates a very negative environment. It creates an environment where people don't want to work together, and they don't trust each other. And then there's no loyalty, right? People are bouncing around. And so that's not our culture. We're a very loyal culture, and we're a culture of respecting each other as leaders, helping each other. And we all win by doing that. Everybody wins because there's enough to go around. You have a whole country that just opened. You got a lot of people. Right? You don't need other people. You don't need to take other people's people. You have like this whole world open to you. And the Filipino people are beautiful people. You're amazing. And what I loved about being there was just how, and it must be so hard for all of you to be staying in your houses, because you are very social people, more so than the United States, I think, in terms of just how you gather, and such big families. And it's really wonderful. And I think you have a huge opportunity to share doTERRA because of that, because of how well connected people are, and how I think community oriented your culture is. It's a beautiful thing. And so I think doTERRA is just perfect for the Philippines. And I really ask you all to uphold that culture, because it is something that's really unique to doTERRA. And people that come from other companies in the United States, they all can't believe it, really, actually, at first. They're like, is this real? Is this really how it is? Because it's so good, and it will not only support you in building, but it will keep your good leaders. It will keep the good people, and it will some of the ones that don't do that will fall away, that don't have that heart and that culture.
How do you overcome rejections, especially when it's coming from family or your friends?
Yes, that's such a good question, right? First of all, it kind of sucks. It's just hard, right? Nobody likes that. So I think and we've all experienced it. So it's normal. I think we have to reframe rejection a little bit. They're not rejecting you, okay? If they don't want to try the oils, or they're skeptical about the business, they're not rejecting you. They're probably rejecting an idea or something that they don't know a lot about. And people tend to be afraid of things they don't understand, right? That's just human nature. They don't really understand, and they're afraid. And more so, if they're your friend or family, maybe they're even trying to protect you, right? Oh, I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to get disappointed. I don't want you to get into something crazy, or right? So you just have to kind of say, okay, they probably have good intentions. And no, first of all, is just not right now. That's how I take it now. So just because somebody says no, it doesn't mean no forever. It means not right now. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe they haven't learned enough. So don't give up on them. Keep sharing the oils. Keep sharing your vision, your why, but kind of move on. So they have this little saying that I love that repeat. It's when someone says no, it's so what? Someone's waiting, basically. And I love that idea. Like, not now, someone's waiting. So granted, you don't forget them. You still care about them. You still give them oils. You still share with them, but you keep sharing, because it's not going to be a good fit for everyone right now. And you don't want to let that stop you. And I would say in the beginning, I think family and friends were the hardest for me as well, because it's like they knew you before doTERRA, right? And so they're like, what are you doing now? What is this thing? And so sometimes, and that's why I did share with my friends and family, but pretty quickly I started sharing with other people. I started talking to other massage therapists. And like for me, because I was in the natural health yoga teachers and people that worked at natural health places. And I started sharing with some people like that, because I needed to introduce it to more than just my friends and family. And then I would say my friends and family kind of came on a little later, once they watched me for a while. And they were like, okay, she's serious about this. But the great thing was, people that didn't know me as well, they didn't know me before. So they were like, oh, well, she's the essential oil lady, And I remember that one time I moved a couple years into doTERRA. I actually moved to a different town, and I was afraid because I didn't know anybody there. And I thought, how am I going to do this? Is this going to be hard? But as I got to meet people, from the very minute they met me, pretty quickly, I was the essential oil lady, right? And so they just was like, oh, she's the essential oil lady. And so it actually worked really well. And so, yeah, I would just say, don't let it stop you, but keep sharing outside of your friends and family as well.
It's like what Dilo said here. Some will, some won't, so what?
Yes, thank you, Dilo. I was trying to remember that. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? Thank you. I know it's a hard time right now, you guys. So just don't give up. Stay focused. Get on Zoom with everybody that will talk to you, and just keep sharing. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be hard days, but it's so worth it. Like if I really think about it, I will start crying how grateful I am for doTERRA and what it's done for my life and my children. And it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I mean, probably the best one, but I can't say that. I have to say being a mom was the best decision, right? No, I love being a mom, but really, it's up there with the top best decisions of my life. So I really, really encourage you to just stay the course. It's so worth it.